What are your thoughts on the rise of Hyrox? Each month it seems to be getting more and more popular, even to the point where Lance Armstrong's posted a video being like, "Just did a Hyrox workout and it's super hard." Is
Yeah.
is it a surprise to you that the sport's really taken off?
No, I don't think it is because when I first saw it, I really like the look of it. And obviously, if you compare it to CrossFit, I think CrossFit's got quite a lot of flaws. I get the gist of CrossFit, and obviously that the CrossFit sort of bug did take over the world, and it's still pretty, dominant now. But I think I think Hyrox just is going to take over from CrossFit soon for sure. Just it's more accessible. I think the fact that it's repeatable, so you can train and train, and then just keep sort of seeing improvements. And like it's really cool that the sort of like when the races are sort of you got a timing chip and you can see all the stations and all that, and where you're good or where you're not so good at. So I think and like the movements everyone can do, like everyone can push a sled, do a wall ball. You compare that to sort of CrossFit, like not everyone can do a muscle up, not everyone can do a snatch, and quite often people get injured doing them types of things. So I just think Hyrox is definitely more accessible for everyone.
Say someone doesn't know what Hyrox is. Could you just give a brief description of
Yeah.
what a Hyrox event is?
So basically, it's 8 1 kilometer runs, and in between each run, there's a functional fitness station, which usually lasts between probably 2 and 5 minutes for pretty much anyone, really. Yeah, that's in short, basically. Yeah.
What extent is it anaerobic versus aerobic? Because it's very explosive, but then it's also for 50 to 65 minutes. So there is that endurance element. What balance do you think it comes down to?
I'm not. Yeah, like you definitely need a good aerobic base for sure. So like you see a lot of the triathletes and Ironmen and people come in with sort of massive sort of base engines, and if you get a heavier sort of one of them athletes that can put a bit of muscle on and some strength, then I think it's good for them. But yeah, you can't just have an anaerobic athlete. You can't like this sport just choose sort of the strength mongs up. You know what I mean? Like you can't just turn up and you know do it from just an anaerobic. It's both. You've got to have. I think that the ideal background is someone that's sort of a middle distance runner, probably 800 to 1500 meters. If I was to design a Hyrax athlete growing up, it'd be someone like that, an 800 to 1500 meter runner, but then discovered the gym, but not just the gym. It's got to be sort of sport specific. So you don't just want to be doing bodybuilding split type strength stuff. It's got to be explosive plyos, sort of max strength type stuff as well. So it's yeah. I think there's definitely it's not just anaerobic at all. There's definitely I think probably 70-30. I reckon maybe in aerobic favour.
And what, certainly from a cycling background, anything over 70 kilos is quite heavy. But then I was
Yeah.
quite surprised at how heavy you need to be in high rocks. A lot of the guys, high 80s, low 90 kilos. And just to
Yeah.
sort of move the weight that's required.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think anyone from a competitive cycling background that can put some size on, within reason, sort of to get in the 80s to 90s can be really competitive because Hyrox is basically just mostly leg endurance. It is like obviously you've got the sleds, pretty much leg endurance, burpees, the row, lunges, the wall balls. Like if your legs need to be extremely strong, but like not just sort of absolute strength, it has to have that endurance. And I think cycling's a good place to come from for sure. But yeah, like weight wise, like I'm 90 kilos. Like I don't I'm 92, 93 is where I want to bit like my body likes to be at. But like Hunter as well, Hunter's similar to me, 92, 93. And it's like you don't get many people that can run quite fast at that weight. So I think that's why we do quite well at the sport, just because like it's quite hard to find someone that can move the sleds as well as sort of we do and run as fast as we do. That's the trick here because if you're too light, if you say you're 70, 80 kilos, not 80, but more like 70 kilos, the sleds are just going to absolutely chew you up, and then yeah, it's hard to come back from that.
It must be hard in terms of eating, because surely you can do quite a lot of volume when it comes to Hyrox training, but also you need to maintain size, if not put on size. Does that just mean
Yeah.
you're eating a lot every day?
Yeah, I eat a lot. So twice a week, I'm eating about 5,000 calories.
Wow.
So yeah, like on my high days, I'm probably burning 2.5 to 3,000 active calories. So yeah, so I'm having to. It's just literally eating all the time. I just get sick of it. Literally just like sugar. It's just constant, just bread, sugar. That's all I eat so much so many carbs. It's unbelievable. But like you need it because yeah, them high days are seriously taxing on the body, and you just need the energy. So yeah, if you if you want to put the hours in, if you don't eat, you're right. You're going to lose weight, and then you're going to lose power and strength, and then unfortunately that doesn't work with Hyrox.
With your 2 times a week doing 5,000 calories, is that with an aim to maintain size, or are you still aiming to increase in size?
Yeah, so at the minute I'm trying to cut size. So at the minute I'm trying to get down. So on the high days I'm probably eating 4,500. I'm trying to get in a 500 cal deficit every day at the minute because, like I say, I'm like the World Champs is coming up, and I'm trying to find that balance between power to weight ratio. And I know if I could drop, if I get to 89, I think that is going to be amazing. But I just any less than that, and I'm going to lose power, and then that's going to impact sort of my stations, which I'm probably like top two, top three, in like the sleds and things like that. Because I'm a heavy, stronger athlete. I seem to excel in the first half of the race. Like I'm always normally top two, top three. So yeah, it's a balance at the minute, trying to find that optimum race weight. But the World Champs is about 9 weeks out. So like, it does not take long for me to drop weight. I could drop so much weight so quick just because of the volume of training. But I'm trying to do it really gradually. But it's a hard effort. Like I really love my food. And then when I'm still trying to train, like I do get hungry, and a bit grumpy. And when I'm constantly in a deficit, it's like, yeah, it's pretty tough. So that's where I'm at.
And I suspect with a new kid as well, it must be quite hard to balance all of that and all the training and also be in a calorie deficit.
Yeah, yeah. There's times where, yeah, I do question why I'm doing it. I really do. Well, when I'm like weighing my food out every day and I'm in a calorie deficit. Um, if I'm not getting any sleep one night because of the boy and just things like that, just general life and having to work as well. And like I live in Doha right now, and the heat is starting to get hotter now. So like everything gets harder, even just like commuting around. But like my track workouts now are getting harder, so my paces are dropping off. But I know that because it's getting hotter. So yeah, everything's hard, but you don't get anything good out of life when it's easy, do you? So
What was the instigator to move out from Doha? Because you were in England beforehand, weren't you?
yeah, so I was in the UK. It was just because of my work, really. I got offered a job out here. And me and my wife have always sort of said that we'd like to sort of do something different, travel a bit. We always like to travel, and this was quite a good opportunity. It just seemed to line up perfectly. It was sort of right after the World Championships in Manchester, and like normally, like that's my off season, so I'm always having 2 or 3 months just sort of downtime a bit. And we just thought, bugger it, we'll try it. And yeah, here we are right now. So it's not been the easiest move. I'm not going to lie. We moved out here in July last year, and it was like 45, 50 degrees heat. Never in my life been in that type of heat. Most people sort of leave the country when we arrived. So yeah, it's not been easy whatsoever. Like just going out for runs and stuff, it was unbearable. Like I was getting blisters all over, like my like chafage blisters on my arms, my legs, and that stopped me running for a while. And just like learning a new lifestyle and everything was so hard. But yeah, you get through it, and yeah, and here we are now. It's getting hotter.
So when it comes to training in that sort of heat, do you just have to basically do all of your stuff inside?
No, I don't. So obviously my gym sessions, my strength sessions, I do. Um, but a lot of my running and conditioning, I still do outside. So I will try. I just have to get up stupidly early. Like my alarm goes off at 4 a.m. every day. I'm in bed by 8 p.m. every night. So I can normally get to the track around 6:30 something, maybe 7. But it's still 26 degrees. Like right now, it's still 26 degrees then. So you've just got to accept that your paces are going to be slower, which is hard to watch. You know what I mean? It's
Right,
the
yeah.
heat's affecting you, but still in the back of your head, you want to see the numbers going quicker, but they're not. So I could jump on a treadmill, and I have done. But yeah, I just don't think there's anything as good as getting out on the track. I think it uses different muscle groups and things when you're actually running on the track as opposed to too much treadmill work. So yeah, and obviously training in the heat, you get benefits from that, don't you? Your blood plasma level increases and obviously things like that. So yeah, I'll train outside for as long as I can, basically.
Must be a hard mental game putting in all that work and then for your splits to be not getting faster or decreasing, but then you have to, console yourself that it's just the heat or it's just external factors. But
Exactly. Yeah.
when in reality, you just want to see the splits get faster.
Oh, it's hard, yeah, because you're putting all this work in, and you're like, why were my 800s quicker like 3 weeks ago? Or you know what I mean? And I've slept well, and you're checking everything, but then you look at the temperature, and it's probably 3 degrees higher, but like the humidity is an extra 20% higher, and all these things take a couple of seconds off each lap. They do. So yeah, it's hard to see progress when you're training when you're training out here in the heat, especially when you're living out here, because in the winter it's fine. Like you wake up and it's like 18, 20, and it's like, oh great, but then before you know it, like January, February, March, you're putting all these training blocks in, and you're like, shit, like I'm 3 months deep into a really good training block now, and like the things would be going quicker, but the times are staying the same, but it's not. The temperature's going up, but the blood's going to your skin to cool you down. So you just need to keep trying to remember that, and then turn up at race day, and that's hopefully when it's going to show.
Did you know all of this before you moved out? Do you know like the impact that it would have? Or was it more like, oh, it'll be sunny, more better, so it'll be better for training?
I did some research. I do like to do a lot of research on things, and then I was just reading up on training in heat and training at altitude, and what happens to the body in that situation. Because obviously, we all know performance drops in the heat for sure. But then obviously, I've read some books and studied and things on some of the benefits that it has. You just don't want it to slow you down too much. But yeah, like your blood volume basically increases and the plasma increases, which then it helps with the stroke rate of the amount of blood per pump from the heart. So yeah, when you then drop down into a cooler race or a cooler environment, you should be able to perform better. But it's just it's so unpleasant training in the heat, because you just, as soon as you step out, it's like you're soaking. So yeah, like I'm heading back to the UK on the 20. So basically, the championships is on June 7, and then I'm heading back to the UK May 24. So I'll have a couple of weeks at home before flying out to Nice, France. So yeah, it'd be nice to see how my running is, obviously in a slightly cooler temperature. So yeah, be good.
You mentioned training over the winter there. What does the periodization of a Hyrox program look like? Because in sort of an endurance sport point of view, it would be volume during the winter, and then as the year progressed on, the volume would decrease and the intensity would increase. Is that a similar thing with Hyrox, or was it a
Yeah,
bit?
everyone's different. All the elites train differently. I think what I'm seeing, like, I don't think everyone shares exactly what they're doing to a T, but like, yeah, I know certain people do a massive sort of long base building, off season to sort of early season, and then they'll switch it up. But yeah, so basically, I don't really I probably will increase the mileage a bit on like the bike and the runs and stuff in the off season and just have a bit of fun. But yeah, like my strength training stays pretty similar. I still train heavy throughout, in sort of rep ranges between 3, and 1. I won't do as much speed work for sure. Like at the minute, I'm doing a lot of speed work on the track. That'll drop off probably. Like maybe once a week, once a fortnight. I'm doing it twice a week at the minute. So yeah, basically, people do it differently. But for me, my strength program, I in season I drop to 2 strength sessions a week. Out of season, I'll be doing 3 to 4 sessions a week basically. So I'll try and get as strong as I can and just try and hold on to some of that. And then as the season goes on, I'll tend to drop some body weight, increase the sort of speed and intensity in my workouts as the season goes on. Yeah.
That's interesting. So your rep ranges there are quite low. Is that focusing on explosivity or pure strength, or what's the thing?
Pure, just absolute strength. So yeah, I do a lot of box squatting and bench press. So they're my 2 main lifts I always keep in. I always want to sort of keep my top end strength there. I don't ever want that to drop off as much. So I'll stay strong all year round. I just think it helps with injury prevention as well. So I'll lift heavy throughout the whole year really. Basically with Hyrox training, I'll drop the amount. I'll go from 3 or 4 gym session, like strength sessions, to just 2 in the season, and I'll do more sort of conditioning as I get through the season, basically.
So with those strength sessions and then also a lot of the running and say Hyrox specific workouts, that's a lot of baths of lactic acid. How are you able to sort of periodize them to sort of get some recovery in, but also really push the upper limit of what you can do training wise?
Yeah, so I've had probably the worst season I've had in Hyrox. I've been injured so much, and I'm surprised I've managed to qualify for the Worlds with sort of the injuries I've had. Having these injuries has sort of really made me dial in on my recovery and like just I can't just batter my body anymore. Like I'm 38, so I need to really, like I'm very cautious on adding too much too soon because I've done that. So I have to increase everything gradually. So if I wanted to increase my long run each week or my sort of my long bike ride I do, I'll just increase it by like 5 minutes a week because I've stupidly done stuff and it's absolutely battered me. I get a weekly sports massage now, which I never used to. That's religious. I think that's one of, after sleep, I think a deep tissue massage is the second best recovery tool by far. When I first went to see us, you basically went, your legs are. Because I wasn't getting enough massages. So I've incorporated that. And I'm also Epsom bath salts. That's a big one that probably people don't do. You should really consider that once or twice a week. And hot and cold too. So I'll quite often, I'll do the cold away from my strength training, but yeah, I'll do like 4 or 5 minutes in my ice tub, and then I'll go down and do like half an hour in the sauna downstairs. So yeah, that's my recovery sort of tools that I use, and the massage gun. I'm probably using that daily because my legs are always jacked up.
Epsom bath salt's interesting. What's the theory behind that one?
My coach recommended it to me. He said he sent me an article on them. Basically, Ben Johnson, you know, the sprinter that got done for his coach. Who was his coach called? Legendary sprinting coach. Anyway, forgot his name. Yeah, he wrote a protocol for him. My coach sent it to me and said, look, these are some of the recovery techniques. And so, yeah, basically he said use Epsom bath salts twice a week. So, yeah, that's what I do. I didn't really look into it too much. I know it's meant to help relieve muscles and aches and things, and I do really think it does help, actually. So I pretty much try and do everything to help me speed my recovery up quicker because, yeah, the more sessions I can get in, as you know, the better you can get.
Yeah. What's the hot cold thing is quite popular now. With everyone seems to be doing ice baths, then sauna. Yeah. But you then say you rank a deep tissue massage above that in terms of recovery?
Yeah, I do.
It's
Yeah,
interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah. I always do, and like I always start on cold and finish on the hot, so to get the blood flow. But deep tissue for me, maybe because my legs were so bad, because I haven't been having them for years, but like the benefit I've had over the last couple of months by seeing this girl called Kaylee. She lives in Doha. She's amazing. And I'm literally screaming the whole session. Like I'm not. It's one of the most painful things I ever have. But like the next day, I feel horrible and jacked. Like if you can see my legs now, you see
Yeah,
she's had the
yeah.
suction cups on. The next day, I'm feeling horrible, but then give it one more day after that, and they're perfect. And yeah, I just think it's one of the best recovery methods for sure.
Interesting. So we're 9 weeks out, odd 9 weeks out from
Yeah.
Worlds. What's the training protocol looking at the moment? What's the weekly volume, weekly sessions?
I'm probably up between 16 to 20 hour weeks. Um, I'm I'm currently doing 2 strength, 2 track, hard tracks, 1 long run, 1 long ride, a couple more zone 2 mixed stuff thrown in, a simulation ish types workout once a week. What else is there? Yeah, that's about it. On my 2 high days a week, I'm training for probably 5 hours a day, I reckon. And the
And
other
that's
days,
split sessions, is it?
yeah, that's a combination of the track and strength and conditioning, basically spread over between 2 or 3 sessions. And then the session, that's what pushes the needle them days. Like the stuff in between is just zone 2 recovery stuff. They're the 2 days that really will get my fitness higher. So I concentrate on them 2 days. The other days are just sort of fluff, really, just zone 2, stuff like that, really.
With your long bike ride, what's the thinking behind that? Is that more to get the aerobic gains without the impact
Yeah,
of running? Because it's quite a low impact one.
yeah, because I find that I'm a heavier athlete. If I start doing like a 15 to 20 kilometer run each week along on top of this, I just get injured. I don't know. My body doesn't like to run for that long, so it's a way of getting a load of zone 2 in for me without the mileage on the joints. So yeah, I just keep my revs RPM high, and I do it on the bike erg, and I'm churning out nearly probably 300 watts in zone 2 for like an hour and a half to 2 hours. So it's great leg endurance, and yeah, that's what I do.
Interesting. No, that's super good. I know certainly from the ultra running community, a lot of people have started taking on to bike rides because you can get that aerobic capacity work in without the impact of your legs just constantly smashing against the pavement.
Yeah, that's what I try and avoid. Like I say, because I've been injured a lot this season, and I'm just trying to avoid that mileage because I'm putting in such high volume weeks when I can. I'm just trying to reduce the risks.
How much of Hyrox is a head game? Because certainly in the world of fighting, there's a lot of trash talk. You don't really get that
Yeah,
in rugby or football or whatever. Then you have like
no.
characters like Hunter, who's very much, I'm here to win, I'm the big guy. How do you stop that getting into your head per se? Or are you able just to kind of block it out and just get on with what you want to do and what your aims are?
Um, yeah, like I've had some issues mentally in this sport for sure. Like I've quit so many races, it's like ridiculous. I've quit races when I was winning. stupidest, stupidest things I've done. Um, yeah, like I've walked away from big paychecks as well when I should have just carried on and I'd have earned a load of money. So this probably you're probably asking the wrong person here. You're definitely on the wrong person here. But yeah, I've suffered mentally in certain races and the pressure building up to races. But like this is my 3rd season now, and I think the more you do it, the better you get. And like I think I've exposed myself now to so much of the pressure and stress that I'm just used to it now. So like I just turn up to races now. Obviously, you get the nerves, but I just have so much confidence now because I know the training I've done, and all you can do is your best. So sort of, yeah. But it can be definitely be a head game for some people. Yeah.
So what's the thing? So you're leading the race, you're currently winning, and then what's the thinking behind pulling out? What were the reasons at the time?
Well, I flew to Valencia earlier this season. I absolutely flew out the blocks. I got to burpee broad jumps. Rylan was in that race. Martin Michaelis was in that race. And I was about a minute ahead of both of them, I think, leaving the burpee broad jumps. And I just didn't feel good. This didn't feel nice. I didn't feel like it was. Just didn't. I just didn't feel it. And then like the demons just said, nah, just leave it. So I just went, nah, and then I just walked off the track. So, and I hadn't even qualified for the Worlds then, and I'd flown 7 hours to race, and flown 7 hours back from Doha. You know, cost me a couple of grand to do it or whatever it costs. I'm just a head case, always have been. Ask anyone in Hyrox. You do not know what you're going to get with me. You don't know what Sandy's going to show up, and I'm not proud of that. But it's just how I operate. I think I've got a little bit better. Like the similar thing happened in Vienna. Like I was coming second, closely behind Alex, and the rowers didn't work, and I was about a minute ahead again of like Paleo and the other people coming in. We were absolutely killing it, and then like I do suffer from ADHD quite bad, and like I like systematic things that go like in the right order. And if something's thrown off, like ask my wife, she will. Oh, she hates it, but like I'll just like lose my head. And like the fact that the rowers weren't working or something, and that like it completely derailed me. That's why I just went, oh, screw this, and walked off from that race as well. And I've quit at the wall balls in Maastricht 2 years ago when I came in second after Tobias. I quit there, and yeah, they're the three main ones where I've quit for no apparent reason.
Presumably, though, if we take the philosophy of an equal and opposite force, that's the negative. But then surely the positive is that when everything lines up, everything's on, and then you're on it. It must be pretty phenomenal.
I'm still waiting for that race. I always say that the perfect race is out there for me. My wife says it's not, but I think the perfect race is out there for me, and I think I've got the capacity to deliver the perfect race. I'm still picking which one it's going to be, basically. So yeah, you're right with that, I think.
How much? Obviously, Hyrox in itself is a time trial. You want to get from A to B as quick as possible, but you are racing other people. How much of it is the head down, do your own race, own strategy, and how much are you allowed or able to race against one another?
As soon as you go out of your sort of planned comfort zone and trained routine, you're in uncharted territory for me, and your body's probably never been there before. So I think you're in trouble, basically. Then I think each athlete has their own strength, unless you're good at everything. Where there's only a couple of athletes like that, and I think you've got to run your own race for sure, because if you're worried about other people's races or things like that, you will just blow up. You will just die during the race. Like it's happened to me. It's happened to other people where people have gone out too hot or tried to stay with someone. It just doesn't work. Like everyone knows that the front half of my race is the best. Like that, everyone knows that. So like most people, let me go because that's where that's what happens. But obviously, I have been known a lot to blow up at the back end and get caught and things like that, and that still happens, but it doesn't happen as much anymore, and it's not as severe. So yeah, like I go out hard. It's simple. If you watch the Vienna race, the major, then like me and Alex was just ridiculous how hard we went out, but we can hold it. Like I can hold a 138 skiing per 500. Like there ain't many people can do that. Like Hunter can do it, Alex can do it, but no one else can do it. I don't think. And if they do, they're dead. So yeah, like you can't you can't be looking at other people's screens, I don't think, especially that early on in the race, because you're just going to have a miserable time.
But it must be quite hard though, because you got all the adrenaline of everyone competing
Yeah.
against you. You've got the crowds. Someone's just ahead of you. You just want to push on. It must take a
Yeah.
lot of self-control to stick to the plan that you have.
Yeah, for sure. It does. It really does. And I think people just like, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but it's easy to sort of look at someone else's screen on the skier, or it's easy to just look. And then, like, if someone is so far, like, I was lapping, again, I talk about Vienna, like, I was starting to lap people in Vienna, like, after the sled pull. Like, I think I was lapping James Kelly, Graham Halliday, I'd already got out and done a lap. And, like, if you start to lap people in the first half of the race, do you know what that will do mentally to people? It's just like,
Yeah.
it's horrendous. Like, you just like you're in for a miserable time because you've still got another 40-45 minutes to go, and you know that you're nowhere near, and you know that you're not obviously on form, or these guys are so much sort of better than you on the day. So yeah, it's hard because maybe you're sort of the first half of the race isn't your wheelhouse type thing, and you're more of a endurance athlete where you're going to come through at the end. You just got to have faith in what you're good at and try and hold on, because if you try and ski too hard and you've not really got that power, you're going to be absolutely knackered, because you get to the sleds and you'll just be dead. You'll be dead, and I've seen it. I know you're not talking a couple of minutes, then you can be talking 5 to 10 minutes slower than, you know what I mean? So yeah.
So you're 38 now. You played semi-professional football until the age of 24.
Yeah.
What then did you do from 24 to where you are now as, an elite world championship racing Hyrox athlete?
So I then sort of went into the bodybuilding type scene. So I started to get quite strong. Not strong really, but I just went to the gym and did, as your normal sort of bro splits, chest, back, thighs, triceps, just general sort of bodybuilding type strength training in the gym. I reckon I stopped doing like running then. I didn't do much running. Did a little bit of mountain biking, but I wouldn't say I did any competitive type cardio sort of stuff. And then I discovered CrossFit, like a lot of people did. Probably around 30, when I was 30 maybe. Did CrossFit for maybe 2 or 3 years. And then I always say this, and I got kicked out of my CrossFit gym. Everyone's like, "Why? How do you get kicked out of a CrossFit gym?" But I got kicked out of a CrossFit gym by the owner. So then I just set up a little gym in my garage, and then for like 3 years, I just trained in my garage by myself, just doing like some strength, some CrossFit type stuff, a little bit of running, but nothing serious. I didn't enter any 5 or 10K races, really. I didn't do anything like that. And yeah, so basically it's been a bit on and off, really. And then I discovered Hyrox in October 2021. I just signed up for the Birmingham race because it looked quite interesting. And then yeah, that's where it started.
That's interesting, the CrossFit side, because it seems like a gateway drug that everyone seems to get into Hyrox with. What though?
Yeah.
With it, when you were training for CrossFit, were you thinking, "Oh, I want to compete, I want to go, elite with it," or was it just a fun, functional fitness that you thought
It was
was
just fun. Like I'm super competitive all the time, but I just knew that my background and my body shape was never going to be competitive in CrossFit. I'm too tall. I've got long limbs, so like my legs are quite long, so when you're trying to do stuff for time, it's just slower. I didn't have that crazy top end strength like a lot of the smaller, stockier guys have for CrossFit. I was always a runner, so like my background's always been from like I was always a very fast runner in football. So I've always come from a running background, like from high school and everything. So I knew I could never excel in CrossFit just because they're basically they're Olympic weightlifters, aren't they, that can do gymnastics and stuff with a good engine. That's how you develop a CrossFitter. So Yeah, just for fun, really.
It's interesting how your background is more in team sports, and then certainly
Mm,
CrossFit and Hyrox, they're quite individual sports. You know, a lot of
yeah.
individual training, a lot of racing. Certainly, you're doing your own plan. How have you found? Do you prefer one to the other? How have you found the transition?
Yeah, it's interesting that obviously because I used to do a lot of football, so everything was team sports. So then um, it was strange. I just stopped doing team sports, stopped playing football, and then I just went off on my own and did my own thing. Yeah, I can't really. It's difficult to answer that really. I just found that leaving football, I was fine with doing you know individual sports.
The selfishness of racing at a high level is unparalleled, and
Yeah,
you've got a new baby boy with you now.
yeah.
How has it been all balancing it? Are you able, since the baby, been able to keep the blinkers on, or has your training been compromised?
It helps if you got a really understanding wife for sure. Because it is so selfish. It is because you're just like I can't go out tonight. I'm training in the morning. I can't eat that. I can't do that. I've got to do this. Yeah, it's just brutal for for what you get back from it. I don't know if it's worth it sometimes, but we still continue to do it. But yeah, like it has been a challenge having a child for sure because like, but it also a flip side to that is it also stops you going out as well, like the temptation to go out because if you've got a son or a child, you got to put them to bed early and things like that, and then it's actually quite good in that respect. But yeah, like there's been times when he was a little bit younger, he's coming up to 2 now, where just the lack of sleep and just it's brutal because you're then trying to train high that day and you've not slept but you just get on with it and you get through it really. It's I think it kind of makes you a little bit stronger too if you can do it, definitely for sure, because it is a massive distraction, but it's a good distraction. But yeah.
Just another layer of resilience that's needed.
Yeah, it just makes you a little bit stronger, I think. It just gives you that bit of determination and yeah.
So, world champs in 9 weeks. What's on the cards after that? Certainly in this year, and then do you see a multi-year future in Hyrox, or do you have a set point in your mind that you think I'm going to crack it, pack it in by then?
It's a good point that I'm at a bit of a crossroads in my life, I think. So we're actually leaving Doha in so basically my contract ends here May 24th. It's not worked out really what how I thought it would be. Um Fell out with my boss a number of times, so we're leaving Doha on May 24th. So I'm racing Doha 10, May 10th, and then we're leaving 2 weeks after. I haven't got another job to go back to, um, and I'm at a bit of a crossroads really. The sport's not big enough yet where you can do it full time. I've got a couple of sponsors that pay me. They pay me quite well, but it's still not enough. Um, so it's difficult really for me at the minute because I'm trying to train and work, but then I've got the World Champs coming up where I believe in myself and I know that I could, you know, on my day, I believe I could win it. I seriously do. So everything's just focused on that at the minute. But yeah, I'm a little bit lost in what I'm going to be doing because we're going to be heading home the end of May. Um, we've rented our house out, so our house has been rented out till January, so we can't get back in our house. So like potentially, like we're going to be having to find a rental house, or maybe in the short term, live at our parents' house just until the World Champs is over, because I don't really want to be trying to find a house in between like May 24th and June 7th while I'm 2 weeks out from the Worlds. So yeah, like I've not thought about it. Like I'll keep competing while I'm at the top. I think for sure when I'm capable. I still think I've got a few years left in me. I'm still getting faster. I'm still getting stronger. So I don't see why not. But yeah, it's the sport's still quite young, so it's not like you can't do it professionally yet. Well, Hunter manages to do it professionally, I think, and I think there's a couple of others that are doing it professionally. But yeah, most of us have a full-time job and things like that. So that's where I'm currently at with it.
So not something in the Middle East that you could pick up, because you hear stories about some Saudis who paid 10 grand a month to have a personal trainer for the wife, and you just do like 3 hours of work a day.
No, that's true.
Messy.
That is true for sure. There's a couple of CrossFit Games athletes here that have done exactly what you've said. Like they've signed a contract and they train like one of the sheikhs here for like 3 hours a week for like 10, 15 grand to get an allowance. Who knows? Maybe Hyrox will take off and like a sheikh here will say, "Oh, would you train me and I'll stay or I'll come back." But yeah, like Hyrox isn't big enough yet for that. Who knows? If I win Doha, maybe someone will see me and go, "Oh, please stay and coach me, and I'll pay you a load of money." But at the minute, it's not the case. So yeah, as it stands, we're leaving. We're set to leave Doha May 24th.
Amazing. Well, after the Worlds, then the world's your oyster, and I look forward to seeing what you're up to and how you do. But I appreciate your time coming on the podcast. I appreciate your honesty and your openness. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Joe.
Appreciate it.
Cheers, brother.